Senate Bill 5078 passed out of the committee in Olympia today. The bill calls for a firearm industry to adopt controls that would protect the public.
Under the bill making its way through the legislature, if those members of the firearms industry contributed to the illegal use of firearms, they could face legal action. Fox 13's Jennifer Dowling has a look at that legislation.
Under the legislation, if members of the industry were considered to have contributed to the illegal use of firearms, then the Attorney General could step in and conduct an investigation. People spoke out both for and against this legislation in Olympia this week.
This bill will hold gun manufacturers and sellers liable for failing to make sure weapons don't end up in the wrong hands.
In the debate surrounding the latest legislation aimed at curtailing gun violence, Mom April Shentrift, who lost a child to gun violence, testified before the House Appropriations Committee in favor of Senate Bill 5078.
This policy will put an end to the industry's special status and make it possible for survivors of gun violence to seek justice in court.
The bill in part prohibits firearm industry members from knowingly creating, maintaining, or contributing to a public nuisance and establishes that violations constitute a public nuisance and are per se actionable under the Consumer Protection Act. It also authorizes the Attorney General to investigate suspected violations and bring enforcement actions against firearm industry members. A spokesperson with the governor's office says individuals can also take steps on their own to hold the industry accountable.
A person may file a public nuisance claim to seek damages, or they may seek a remedy under the Consumer Protection Act.
Although Washington's Office of Firearm Safety and Violence doesn't get involved in the decisions on bills like 5078, the executive director says there's been a push for stronger firearm laws nationwide.
There is, in many of those cases, documented evidence from other states or other countries that those increased protections could help keep Washingtonians safer.
Meantime, NRA spokesperson Aveen Klein spoke in opposition to 5078.
The firearms industry provides thousands of jobs in this state,
adding that passage will result in lost business and tax revenue.
5078 will financially decimate these lawful businesses, and any of those who may be able to afford to stick around will face exponential and perhaps unobtainable increases in their liability insurance.
Serrano says the governor is in support of 3 firearms-related bills, which could include addressing assault weapons, the purchasing process, and this bill, which targets industry accountability. Now that it's passed the Appropriations Committee, the bill will now go into rules. From there, it will go into the pool of bills that can be chosen to be pulled out for consideration on the floor. Back to you.